They're just such a seasoned veteran team, winning 4 lands in a row. They're trying to get their 5th one. They have a game plan. They have multiple game plans. And now, as they sit back in their chairs, they're going to head into game number 2. And Sanguine, they don't look just as composed as NRG here.
No, Cherryo looks really down right now. I'd like to see him kind of perk up. He's the guy they all look to. You see Dodo trying to cheer him up there. Like, he's always a happy, friendly guy. He's always giving the team good morale. He did that on our team when I was playing with him. And they just need to rally. Like, they can do this. They've got the ability. They just need to be a bit more clean, a bit more crisp, and they can do it for sure.
So something else that Sanguine has to their disposal is Murrdurr from the support position, formerly known as Kanye Life, being in that former Titan squad. He has a lot of LAN experience as well, so he needs to rely on to helping out ease some of these transitions off of this bad loss in the first game. I think that Sanguine still definitely have some tools at their disposal. Yeah,
I think so. Definitely Murrdurr has some very aggressive characters like Athena, Fafnir that he can pull out and play well. They're putting him on those defensive supports. Maybe they can just try and put him on something aggressive, get some maybe mid-camp pressure with him, rather than have that defensive Geb with a Raph, something like that.
How did the Hunter matchup look to you? You are the Hunter on Dignitas. You talked about Arkkyl earlier in this, actually before we came on stage here, you were saying he was 1v2ing. I saw him do a 1v3. He did go in, get a kill on Raffer, and made it out with that incredible Jingwei play that we saw. Some support with a Geb shield, of course, but what does he need to do in this game? Anything different?
I think Arkkyl played pretty good. I disagreed a bit with his build. I would like to see some life still there, but he played almost flawlessly. It's just a Hunter, the Hunter curse. You know, if your team's losing, it's quite hard to do anything. I think they could maybe lean him maybe towards his Anhur, one of his stronger characters. He has very good solo matchups there, 1v1s.
He's definitely not afraid to try to go for a boxing 1v1 with that Anhur, and that could be something that Sanguine lean on. If you're losing all your buffs on the right-hand side, solo side, you might as well tend to Arkkyl, maybe look for easier Gold Furies, because even though Sanguine got early Gold Furies in the first game, they got punished heavily for it. They lost 2 members for 1, and then on top of this, they also kept losing their buffs repeatedly.
The thought process there is that it just wasn't clean. They had the right idea, they did a few things right, but they couldn't finish and get out the way I'm sure they anticipated in their head. Here are the bans coming through for both teams. Terra and Ao Kwang taken away. Nothing new there. Khepri and Ra will be banned by NRG. And of course, Athena selected as the first pick. So it seems NRG, they like what this Athena did last game.
Absolutely, and it's interesting to me to see Sanguine rely on the second pick here, trying to go for a counter pick, the last pick, maybe in the solo lane, try to not go for Guan Yu right off the bat, going for a very aggressive 2v2 between this mid-jungle. The Naja and Isis is something that Dodo and Cherryo is known for.
Yeah, it's a bit of a salty run back, and then Sanguine have transitioned now to that assassin. They're going to have a lot of mid-pressure with the Isis and Naja. They're going to have very good kill potential. But one thing is NRG are going to have played against that thousands of times. They know how to counter it, and there's a Nemesis. Great pick against Isis.
Now, why is Nemesis, in your opinion, a great pick against Isis?
It's just her lack of mobility. You can ult her, and she can't really jump or dash over any walls or get away from Nemesis. They can keep going on her. Her only out, really, is dropping that circle of protection around herself and just maybe Aegising and then healing off that. But I don't know if they'll let her get that far.
Didn't seem like it.
No.
Cherryo wasn't getting that far. He barely had a second to breathe, despite the frost breath that he's bringing to the battle. Now you see here Isis, Naja, we mentioned on Sanguine. Geb will get taken as well, so they decide to opt for the Geb, and then Neith gets followed up on top of the Nemesis. So the Roots, we're seeing 2 of the champions. NRG feeling very comfortable with Neith mid.
It's probably going to continue for Yammyn. He did a good job the last game, rushing that Transcendence. It just makes so much sense. Stacking the physical power, having the extra mana and the MP5 to spam your abilities. And I like the idea of this game against Dodo's Isis, because if, for whatever reason, Dodo lives against the all-in from adapting on the Nemesis, that Neith ultimate should be able to clean him up unless the Geb is in range of that shield.
That's right. You got that kill potential. 2 globals again. Do you expect to see any more globals followed up, or do you think NRG kind of have it in the bag? They have enough presence with just Athena and Neith.
I think NRG have enough globals right now. My interesting kind of point would be that Neith is going to go ADC this game. That's my prediction. I think they're going to actually pull out the mage.
Could be a Giannis.
I could be wrong.
That's true. We don't know where it's going.
I like the Geb pick though. It's good. You know, Nemesis single target. You get the shield on the Nemesis ult. But I mean, last game I said the same thing. I thought, Wheelix a single target, they can Geb shield. But they just burst you down.
Well, here's Freya and Erlang Shen taking off the board for Sanguine and Guan Yu Jingwei. NRG don't want to deal with that, despite having a lot of success against Arkkyl, who was on the Jingwei previously. They decided to ban that out. What's the thought process with that?
The problem was Jingwei still does Jingwei things in the late game. Does a lot of damage, has that Fatalis effect, has the ultimate to be able to get out of danger, so you definitely don't want to rely on that. Maybe it's something that NRG are experimenting with just to see what else Arkkyl has in his bag, but everyone knows that he's very comfortable on this Anhur, so now emilitoo's going to have to adapt to this and get ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Anhur, the famous Arkkyl Anhur, and it's just going to be if they're going to run Mage mid or Neith mid. This is the options they have. And I do like the Jingwei ban because it's a good counter to Nemesis. Nemesis ult goes onto the Jingwei, she ults out, very safe, very annoying to deal with, and there it is, as I predicted, the Mage mid.
The Agni has a lot of tools to his disposal to be able to follow up with a Nemesis. Now, normally, whenever you have a damaged jungler, such as Nemesis, you need control elsewhere, which is why we see Agni come out. Doesn't have the highest burst potentially, considering the fact that a lot of Agnis will tend to go utility style, building that Divine Ruin, trying to limit some of the sustain options, especially against an Isis. But adapting the way he builds is going to be very glass cannon-y, trying to make sure he finds any kills he can.
Tier being selected to round out with Agni on the side of NRG, Anhur and Sobek repping the Egyptian gods here on the side of Sanguine. Cherryo, he seems happy about that, and hopefully he's ready to get back into the rhythm. We saw him have it's a pretty tough performance to come to a LAN and have that be your first go at it, but we are hoping to see him improve in this final game. It's going to be up to him to see if he can break what was not the best of cycles, and let's take it over to Tom and Aggro, see if they can cast a game for us.
Every now and then, Dimi gets a shot to have the spotlight. Giving Dimi the tier, so NRG give Dimi, they never give him really the pick, they never really give him the counter pick. It's always the Guan Yus, these characters that sort of lose the lane by default. But it all pays off when Dimi gets his tier.
I mean, my man did just play Erlong Shen last game, so...
All right, that's right. Okay, all right.
They gave him the spotlight that time. Again, it was really his pressure in the solo lane that opened up all those invades on the right-hand side. But you're right, whenever Dimi gets to play tier, when I think of tier, I think of two players. I think of Variety, and I think of Dimi. And I think of Wolfie.
I think of Chapo.
Really?
Transcendence tier, dude.
Transcendence tier? That was a dark time for me because I didn't get... Then I had two junglers stealing all of my farm, basically.
Statement. Agree or disagree? Erlong Shen has a lot of power, but doesn't make flashy plays.
Disagree.
You think he's flashy?
He himself doesn't make the flashy plays, but he sets up every flashy play we saw.
That's not flashy.
In Group B. Every raw snipe, the best hit that we all lost our minds over was Aurora setting up for him with a flashy CC chain.
But that's sure. But that's not what I'm talking about.
Erlong, when I see Erlong in a game, I'm expecting to see flashy plays. Maybe not individually flashy plays, but he's going to be the crux of those flashy plays.
The question was individually flashy plays. What I'm saying is tier, front flipping over a wall, fearlessing two dudes and smacking them with the power cleave. That's flashy.
That is flashy.
That's the highlight reel.
And it can set up for flashy plays for your team, just like Erlong Shen can.
All right. I know strategy is one thing, but sometimes you just want to see big numbers, and Dimi will likely build tank, and we'll see how that works out. But in all honesty, this tier is going to be flashy. That's what I'm expecting. Different approach from Sanguine, however, going completely back to the drawing board.
I like that idea because last game did not work out. I mean, that clearly their strategy was not going to be effective for them with this sort of lineup that NRG can craft. They aren't going to be able to run that Guardian jungle with a low-pressure solo lane. So instead, they go to Cherryo's first signature god, Naja. This is a god that can clear very easily. You aren't worried about that quite as much. And I really like the idea of picking TheDarkDodo, his Isis as well early on. This is a god that he looks very comfortable on during their group stage, along with the Naja for Cherryo, like I mentioned. But that being said, NRG's composition this time around looks very, very scary for me. If I'm going up against that, I'm probably not going to be happy. And you look at Sanguine's, it's like, where's our late game damage coming from? I mean, there really isn't any late game damage. It's all about snowballing in the mid game for Sanguine's composition.
Well, here's the thing. We saw Sanguine escape. Ooh, Murrdurr with a nice knockup. But that's going to be that as emilitoo controls the Hunter. Nice jump in. Arkkyl's got that on her. like Suntouch said, so much action already. Not going to be resulting in a kill just yet, but in a couple of waves, I'm expecting First Blood to come here.
Arkkyl is definitely one of the quieter, flashy players in the league. I mean, he was on a team that didn't do well during the online stages. We talked about that a lot with this roster. But overall, his skill level was not a reflection of that, I would say. He was near the top of the league in double kills for hunters. I mean, so he's got the potential to make big plays. He's not a household name, but he's got some skill.
Do you know what flashy means? You can't be quietly flashy.
Well, it's like under the radar, you know? It's like, yeah, you know, oh, Sanguine lost again, but did you see that double kill Arkkyl had? It's like most people are like, nah, I just saw that they lost.
Underrepresented, under-celebrated. Right now,
quietly flashy.
I don't want to give it to you, but I think I have to. Murrdurr gets poked out a lot. Arkkyl still powering it down. And this is, so Sanguine, they make a complete 180, like we said. The tank composition that we saw early, that was the boa constrictor. That was the 40, 50-minute sludge fest. We'll see it tomorrow, and they just kind of, this on the other hand, high tempo. Isis and Cherryo's Naja are looking to wreck this mid lane very quickly, very early, and even the Anhur selection is all about getting things off to a nice ramping start. Sanguine escaped group play by sort of boa constricting those players down, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to handle the tempo. Adapting gets ulted, taken to the sky. He's greeted on the bottom. Here comes Dimi.
Dimi gonna front flip over like you were looking for. TheDarkDodo gonna be the first victim. iRaffer picks up the first blood. Just not quite enough damage there from the wombo combo that Sanguine have drafted.
And you know, that's Isis can do it. Ultimate from Murrdurr onto Yammyn. Adapting still low. The ring toss to stun, but Adapting able to dash away.
Love the play from Cherryo. I just love the presence of mind that not turn and run at all. He throws the ring toss and then uses the shield, or uses the sash rather, to cancel out that shield. Yeah. Remember, Nemesis' third ability, that shield gets stopped whenever she gets hit by hard CC. So he uses the sash, makes sure that ring bounce actually hits for the damage instead of healing, Adapting up, almost able to find the kill, and does get the purification out of it as well. Really heads up play there from Cherryo.
Good stuff, but unfortunately almost doesn't wind up on the scoreboard, so it's still 1-zip. Sanguine don't convert into a kill, and because of that one, you know, Adapting just barely gets out of 2 separate times on this Nemesis. The shield and the double dash make the slippery jungler even more slippery.
The good news for Sanguine, though, is that they just got both of their right side buffs, which I don't know how often we could have said that last game. Already off to a better start in that regard, despite giving up the first blood. No purification used there by TheDarkDodo, which means that even though he did die for the first blood, he's not in too much danger.
Well, that's one of the upsides of playing tempo. There's a dash away from Nika, and Adapting doesn't want to chase it. But that's one of the upsides of playing this high tempo as opposed to the Guardians, is the fact that you have a little bit more control of your jungle because there is that threat of the turnaround kill. You know, like I said, almost didn't wind up on the scoreboard, but that was twice that Adapting almost got punished for thinking about going into the enemy jungle. Before, we saw the Ymir freeze and a little bit of this, but NRG weren't as punished as hard as Sanguine can do right now.
And a lot of times when you're saying, you know, we almost got him, we may not be able to get them next time just because their characters will also get protections online, some extra health with each level. But with the way that Adapting builds Nemesis, he's not building protections.
Oh, no.
He's going full, you know, he goes crit on Nemesis. He's building stone cutting swords, stuff like that. So as the game goes later, if that wombo combo potential happens again, they probably will be able to find the kill.
Well, that's the beauty of NRG. They like to, like we said, think outside the box. They like to go for the off-label approach. And Adapting takes this Nemesis that, you know, I always reference her history. She started off as a warrior, and players used her as support. That ultimate, the slows, she's a setup character. And for Adapting, absolutely not. Adapting's going to make his own highlight reel on this character that kind of brings something different.
Man, release Nemesis. You remember those days? That was a one for the ages. The just so much damage potential, and the heal you could get. There was no cap on the healing that you could use for Retribution Shield.
That was the fun part. If you guys weren't around for Nemesis release, you would get ulted by Vulcan. You would press shield, and Vulcan would die.
That was the dream, man. That was so much fun. But again, same sort of style here for NRG. Pressure on the right-hand side. Nika, even though Sanguine picked a higher pressure jungler, did not pick a higher pressure solo laner. In fact, a lower pressure solo laner. Sobek definitely takes a while to kind of get rolling, and you can see how much pressure that NRG is putting on the right-hand side.
And, you know, this is by design. metagame in our game Smite is always talked about with respect to the picks, the selections, the builds, what is meta. But when it comes down to it, meta is things outside of the game. And you got to play the players, not just the picks. Nika is an accomplished rookie, but he's certainly a rookie. And NRG are focusing down the rookie. Part of it solo lane, part of it is the fact that Nika's less experienced than the rest of his squad.
And Dimi, one of the most experienced players in the scene. I mean, you're not going to find that. He is going to find the Fearless on a Nika just to get out of danger for now. Plucks them back in, but Cherryo going to eat the Nemesis ultimate and the Neith ultimate as well.
But a nice separation from Sanguine. NRG weren't able to capitalize. Now iRaffer by himself. 2 types of stuns. There's a nice hit out of Cherryo, bringing him to the sky. iRaffer gets hit. That's 3 times a lollipop, and the answer down on the bottom from TheDarkDodo. We'll see you later, iRaffer.
And now Sanguine's the one who's able to look at the enemy jungle for once. Wrath going to come out from Nika there, going to secure that speed buff. Yammyn forced to dash away. Nothing else that NRG can do. Sanguine get 1 pick and a speed buff for free there.
And that's not for free. They paid for it with their good skill. That's exactly what you got to do. And I'm happy that Sanguine ejected as quickly as they did. I think some other teams might have, or even Sanguine earlier in the year, might have gotten a little greedy, looked for maybe a different buff, looking in the back. But Sanguine recognized kill, speed, out.
And look at the net worth this time around. It was really Adapting who was on top most of the time, and it was Cherryo who was really floundering to try and catch up. But this time it's Cherryo, like I mentioned, on his signature god, sitting on top of the net worth right now, doing a much better job farming this time around. And it's no surprise that Sanguine as a whole are having more success whenever Cherryo's able to stay in the game.
Look at Dimi walking up to 2 players like it ain't no thing, just unconcerned. Right there, that was actually a really good opportunity for Sanguine to find the gank onto Dimi, but the solo lane Sobek misses the pluck, and now he's the target. There's the front flip coupled with Athena. The taunt's gonna come in, but Dimi just wants the lane.
He just wants it. He does force Nika to back, and without teleport available for him, it means that Nika's going to have to take a long walk back. And it actually looks like we're seeing the hold that thought. Actually, Cherryo going to eat 2 ultimates yet again, but the ultimate gets him out of that slice and dice, plus a perfect ring toss, slows down the opposition. No catching him there. 2 ultimates for 1.
Dimi doesn't have the ultimate available, and no blink just yet. Level 11, if he even goes to blink. You expecting to see the aggro Dimi?
We usually don't see Dimi get blink, if I remember correctly. He still likes to go for meditation. Dimi, you know, one of the best team fighting solo laners, definitely thinks of the team more often than not. So blink a little bit more selfish, though it does help the engage of NRG, but NRG's really not lacking for engage whatsoever.
Nice
Little flip out of emilitoo to avoid the engage from Murrdurr. The blink out of the Geb does not surprise the Hunter here.
So I got to give credit to Met Yankee right now, because Cherryo's rocking his Naja build. Shield of Regrowth, 2nd item on Naja. That's pure Met right there. I'm sure he's stoked in the crowd. But so the idea here is that whenever you pop your 2, you heal yourself as Naja. Depending on how many auto attacks and bounces from your ring toss, you'll get a bigger heal. But you're also getting crit chance whenever you activate your 2, and when you buy Shield of Regrowth, you're also getting movement speed. Naja is very immobile overall. You have to really rely on that ring toss to make it so you can do it. Adapting around the backside, eats a stun. Cherryo gonna eat a bomb. 3-man Cataclysm from Murrdurr gets the shell and the purification out from Adapting.
That's a win for Sanguine.
Absolutely. That's a really great, that was a great engage there for Murrdurr, but it really wasn't even engage. It was kind of just a, hey, we don't want to fight this anymore. But it seemed that NRG were thinking about still fighting it. The shell came out. They maybe were thinking that Sanguine may want to fight that. But overall, that's definitely a big win. Trading 1 Cataclysm for 2 big relics is definitely very important. So yeah, going back to the Shield of Regrowth on Cherryo, it's there to help augment that lack of mobility that he has.
It's on demand as well. There's the ultimate from Dodo, all in on this invade coming out from Sanguine. They're in NRG's back jungle. Dashing forward is Cherryo, using the ultimate. He'll get ulted himself from the mid lane, from the Neith in the left lane this time.
Great disengage yet again, though. They get the speed buff and they get out. iRaffer doesn't want to let it go, though. They're going to try and do their own speed, but they're pretty low. Bomb stun comes in from Yammyn, forces the purification from Cherryo. Nowhere to go. Gets the sash, but it doesn't matter. Emil's here, and he picks up the kill, but Arkkyl finds Adapting.
The pincer play out of NRG Esports, able to just shut down what Sanguine wanted to do. do. The escape wasn't allowed. Both exits, left and right, taken out. NRG split up into 2 groups, and they're able to meet up in the middle and take down a couple of players. But Arkkyl, like you said, he answered back. That's got to be scary.
And he's looking again. Yeah, he's going to find him with the impale after the disperse. Arkkyl quietly flashing.
That wasn't quiet, that was loud as hell. And over on the right side, Dimi's making noise as well, but the Sobek able to save his teammate's life.
Like Suntouch said, man, Arkkyl has this on her his repertoire. Now level 13, 2-0 and 0. He's got the level lead over top of emilitoo in the duo lane. He's also second in the game in farm right now, sitting up about 200 gold. And his player damage right underneath Emil, but a lot of that player damage from that Neith coming from that overall, global ultimate. Arkyl's looked very, very strong with his rotations.
Arkyl's had this on her, this very aggressive on her for a long time. It reminds me of Moex in the sense that if you can remember Moex from kind of yesteryear, basically the on her style of play that these two players bring out is just very eclectic, and it's not predictable. I think a lot of players level 2 or level 3, I have Disperse, I have Impale, level 2, I could go ahead and you can sort of predict the unpredictability out of an aggressive on her. But when you see Arkkyl play on her, a lot of the moves that he makes don't really wind up on the spreadsheet.
It's very he kind of bides his time almost. We're not seeing a whole lot of him out of the left lane. He's playing pretty passive. We haven't really checked over there at all, and so he's just kind of chilling. And then one rotation happens, and he's 2-0. Yep. And with a great Desert's Fury by the speed buff, through a couple players, able to find the priority target and stay locked on them, then finish them off with the impale, and then gets the buffs, the right hand mid harpies, and then sees where Yammyn is in relation to the wave, hops over, and then a perfect auto cancel impale. He doesn't even let Yammyn hit the ground. Yep. No chance for him to dash away. And again, you're right. It's very unpredictable and predictable at the same time.
It's only predictable in the sense that you don't know what's coming. You know that you don't know what's coming. In any event, bad luck 13 on the clock. 2-3. Read the kills. NRG not in the lead as far as those are concerned, but we're all tied up here, folks, very early on in this one. And I think Sanguine is interesting. A lot of people said Sanguine only made it out of group stages because they were able to play this tanky composition that kind of hid the mismatch of skill as they went against some higher seeded opponents. But Sanguine are playing a more execution-heavy composition here, and they were able to stay toe-to-toe.
I agree with you. And Cherryo, as long as he can get this, that's always been the knock on him, is he either plays Guardian or Naja, and this time he got Naja, and he's able to do it. If Sanguine are able to pull this game out, or even if they can't, I fully expect NRG to not give Cherryo his signature god again.
At the same time, you definitely can't give them Ra. I think that's a big deal as well. Picks and bans on the back burner. Gold Fury goes down,
NRG
and
got
it's
it!
stolen by Yammyn on the hot Agni.
TheDarkDodo couldn't find the detonate on the ultimate, not on the right timing. Arkkyl now separated from the rest of the squad, trying to get away, uses Sanctuary to immune defender of Olympus, and Adapting's just chilling. He actually ditches iRaffer. Thanks for the help, buddy. We didn't get the kill. I'll see you later.
Oh my goodness, I wish we'd had a listen in right then and there, but unfortunately happens a little bit too quickly because I guarantee Raffer's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Just thanks, man.
Yeah, every support player in the stands right now is like, what the heck is that, man? We were trying to help you out. Thanks for ditching me.
My favorite was,
support.
I'm glad we were riding along with it with Adapting.
He doesn't even turn around.
He does the half turn where it's like, you're not coming, and then just leaves him in the dust. Raffer, the selfless support player, gets taken down due to his teammates' own, I don't know, just greed.
Unfortunate situation there. If you're Raffer Adapting, who really cares? He got out, whatever. But unfortunate for Sanguine that they give up the Gold Fury in that scenario. TheDarkDodo, that's his job to secure that Gold Fury. When you're picking Isis, you're picking it for 2 reasons. Early pressure and objective secure. They've gotten early pressure. He's used the ultimate well to secure a speed buff off the bottom of the Windfire Wheels ultimate, dropping down and using it there. But you have to know exactly how much damage you're going to be doing with a fully charged ultimate. TheDarkDodo is about 200 damage off from that executing the Gold Fury, and Yammyn's able to steal it with a bomb. That's just one mid laner taking advantage of another one.
Here's my thing though, Sobek has a Wrath, and it's not like that. That can't happen. If you're not there at the fight, that's a mistake.
Yeah, he was on the right side, and you can see he doesn't even have the teleport. He goes for a sprint, and Dimi does have that teleport. So Dimi, I expect to see Dimi just camp out in this right-hand lane and have NRG force everything on the left side. There's no reason not to, because if Nika comes over, how is he gonna get to the fight? Then Dimi's just gonna teleport over, and Nika's split push Sobek. Like, sick, dude. You're not really doing anything with that.
See, Dimi's gonna get help from iRaffer. This time, Dimi's not gonna turn around. Cherryo dashes away with the ult. He's going to get stunned, but he might be a little bit too deep for the rest of NRG. And emilitoo gets the kill. Not going to say soloed, but emilitoo's going to take that one to the bank, adapting with the gank.
Now Murrdurr going to try and gank Yammyn. Action all over the map. Right lane, left lane, mid lane, and stuff happening everywhere. It looked like Arkkyl got kind of baited there. He tried to go in whenever emilitoo used that ultimate. A lot of times you'll see hunters do that. Whenever Neith is charging that ult, she's standing still. You know, she doesn't know what's happening in front of her, but adapting was ready for it. He was there. Arkkyl just a little bit out of position, ate the Nemesis ultimate and fell because of it.
And since the early game, since the supports have left, we haven't really sat with the hunters. emilitoo does this thing when he plays Neith, where anytime he's not doing anything, he ults. And he just sits there, charging his laser, and he has no intention of using it. But it kind of baits the opponent into, like you said, coming a little bit closer, and then more importantly, it muddies comms. He's ulting. Wait, I don't think he's actually... He's in the ult stance, I'll give you that much.
Yeah, he may or may not be ulting, possibly. Just kind of look out for it just in case.
And then what happens when you're playing that hunter and emilitoo kneels down for the 7th time in 1 minute? You're not going to make that call, and that's when your mid laner gets poached.
And then they're like, hey, where's the call, dude?
Yep.
Like, well, I called it every other time. Well, how come? He knows. ML's just really like, he's got one headphone off, just listening for whenever they don't call Neith ult, and then he Neith ult. So that's what he's doing.
Oh, man. Just incredible play coming out of Yammyn as well on this Agni. You know, it's funny. In the team fight, I caught myself. I almost said the mid lane Neith because I'm so not used to it. It's so foreign to see Yammyn on a mage.
But if you're going to see him on a mage, this is one of his best for sure. His Agni is absolutely lights out. You can see second on the player damage charts right now. Just so comfortable on this god.
It just brings so much to the battlefield. Control, damage if you do it right. It works out wonderfully. Arkkyl gets hit by the ultimate out of Neith and the big shot out of the support. Dodo off screen takes care of Yammyn, and Arkkyl right now is the subject of everybody's ire. But a quick shell comes out, and NRG can't find the damage.
Arkkyl was just a distraction. They left Yammyn alone. His dash was down. Dimi using the distraction on the right-hand side. Nika not able to find the Wrath on the speed buff. Dimi steals it anyways. But yeah, so Arkkyl jumps in aggressively there, and the rest of NRG all turned attention to him. They're trying to peel for their hunter, but it was really their mid laner, Yammyn, who needed the peel. They've picked him up, his second death of the game, and nice job by Sanguine splitting up NRG and picking off the target that was left alone.
Unfortunately for Sanguine, nothing to really get there. They try to get the mid lane tower, but a little bit too aggressive. iRaffer finds the taunt. There's the blink from Dimi. Controls the support, and it looks like Murrdurr's in trouble. Getting out of there, and Dimi can't catch up. Nice little rollout, but Dimi going for the flash.
iRaffer left alone, but Lawbringer over the top, gonna give him a little bit of support. Nika lurking in the waters, but can't really find anybody. emilitoo still full health in the mid lane. Dimi gonna exit stage right, and everyone from NRG gets out safe.
So I know the players are low, but it's distinctly, it's obviously a 4-on-5. Why does NRG take that fight?
Because they've got the side of wombo combo potential with the root after the fearless, after the bomb stun. You know, they can really lock them down fairly easily. Cherryo forced ultimate again away from the fight. Dimi diving the tower. No ultimate, plucked back in from Nika. TheDarkDodo doesn't have the circle of protection, so he can't drop it and make Dimi pay for diving that tier 2 tower. But again, now the focus has been onto Cherryo. It seems like it's been every Nemesis ult in the overall team fights have been onto Cherryo. We've seen a couple on the left-hand side on Arkkyl whenever he dies in on emilitoo, but overall, they've been trying to make sure Cherryo's using his ultimate defensively. They don't want him to be able to use it aggressively in setup for TheDarkDodo.
Sanguine are going to start the Gold Fury again, but this time they've got a Sobek. But his Wrath is on cooldown, it's going to be 15 seconds. That's enough time to dance around the Gold Fury and do the whole bait.
Isis does have ultimate now, so you could use that, though it didn't work out last time, so I understand Sanguine's hesitance to try and do that game plan again. Nika, yet again, is just so far behind in the solo lane, though. He's level 15, adapting. Yammyn, both level 16. Dimi's got a 3-level lead, as is emilitoo. He's only 1 level up on the enemy support. He's only 1 level up on his own support. You can see the XP per minute just nowhere close to Dimi, emilitoo, anyone else.
Yeah, Nika and Cherryo have been the focal points here, and you know, role player is never used as an insult. I think players take that terminology as sort of an insult. It just means that you're there to provide exactly what your role does, and you can sort of hide in the shadows because of it. The rookie and the star of this team are the ones that NRG are looking to kill over and over again.
And it's worked out thus far. At least it did in game 1. Now game 2, Sanguine starting up the Gold Fury again. Cherryo zoning everyone away. He's got Yammyn up in the sky, but the rest of the team's on the Gold Fury. Circle protection's down. Arkkyl getting low, looking to execute it this time. Still not going to be enough, and NRG gets it again!
It's emilitoo with the arrow shot that steals it. This just is out of control. Cherryo winds up taking one down, but Yammyn answers right on back. There's the ultimate out of Murrdurr. Not going to find too many. Dimi finding a top over this everybody, and Arkkyl, he gets the kill on iRaffer. No follow-up from NRG just yet. Nika's controlled, but he's still a little bit tanky. emilitoo, he's low. They got to get out of here.
Adapting's low as well, and he went the other way. Adapting, trying to just get out while emilitoo is as well. Spearball, not going to find it, but it makes emilitoo juke enough to make sure that Nika is able to find his first kill. That's a zoning Spearball.
I was just gonna say that, and people like to use the euphemism oh no, it was a zoning ult, when you clearly just completely, that 100%, Dodo either gets to stun and they kill him off of the stun, or they cause the stutter step and they kill him off the stutter step. That right there, that is not a miss by DarkDodo by any stretch of the imagination.
But another miss on the Gold Fury by him leads to NRG stealing away another
What is
one.
that?
You just cannot let that happen once, let alone twice. This would be Sanguine's game to win if they get 2 Gold Furies here. They'd at least be even, or probably a little bit ahead, but with the 2 Gold Furies going the way of NRG instead, with this objective-oriented draft that they've gotten. I mean, they've got the ult from Isis, they've got the Wrath from Nika. Neither were there to do the actual executing of the objective. NRG steals 1 away with a bomb, 1 away with a spirit arrow, and because of that, they're up about 5,000 gold.
May I please see the graphs? I really need to see something here. Look at this. The 2 largest jump ups in NRG's lead right now is the Gold Fury that Sanguine delivered to them. There's a little bit. That's maybe 1,000 gold. Everything else is gold.
Now Cherryo is going to have to get back out of there. DarkDodo in a bad spot as well. Lawbringer, fearless. Sanctuary buys him a little bit of time. Nika lurking in the waters looking for adapting, but the shield actually helps him out. Arkkyl pretty low, or trying to do a little bit more damage to get people pretty low. Unable to do so. NRG just plays it safe.
iRaffer placing the wards up because they know they're going to stay aggressive. Murrdurr goes ahead and gets taunted. But that be that. And this is something that NRG love to do. They love to just carry around these sentry wards and make sure that there's no vision to enable them to be doing whatever they want.
There's a little play from Yammyn that, you know, just a weird little mid laner play that I like. The Harpies haven't spawned yet, but he uses Path of Flames because that trail's going to be there for a little bit, and it gets him a head start to getting in position to clear the mid wave. Well, nice little thing from him.
It's all about the small things. iRaffer right now caught in a very bad position. Stunned, picked off, body blocked, flipped. Every bit of CC in Sanguine's kit goes directly on the support. Trying to answer back as Murrdurr takes big damage, but the shell comes out. Nika serves up another one. This time it's Dimi. Still jumping forward. Can't get the ultimate. Arkkyl takes him down.
The pillar!
2 kills for Sanguine Esports.
Nowhere to go. Adapting got body blocked by the pillar. Trying to trade out with Arkkyl. He jumps in place. Knocks him up, and he's going to find it as well. Arkkyl with his 6th kill of the game. Perfectly placed pillar. He's able to find Dimi as well. There's the flashiness. Nothing quiet about this game.
Nah, this one goes up to 11. This is not quiet.
Oh, dude, come on. We're talking about you all nice, and then that happens?
All right, he kind of got quieted there, but Yammyn taken to the sky, gonna get in a lot of trouble here as soon as that sanctuary is gone. So is he. Nika with credit for the kill. emilitoo's here. He's going to get help from iRaffer as well. Ultimate from Dodo just in time.
Executes the player. Doesn't need to execute the Gold Fury if he's got it on the player. Now Wrath is available. Fire Giant being looked at by Sanguine. They've got 4 members, but the big one isn't there. Arkkyl, the level 20 carry, the main objective damage dealer, isn't going to be there to help him out. So instead, the rest of Sanguine just back up to base.
Do you agree with that call?
Backing there, I think that they didn't have a minion wave in right. They could have potentially tried to push down middle tower, but then you're still low. You haven't backed. You haven't spent the gold that you earned on that last fight, which means that NRG's got a position to really position themselves around the Fire Giant, get ward coverage, have the overall tempo, if you will. You know, a lot of times when you're talking about tempo, you're talking about like card games and stuff like that, but there is definitely a tempo in Smite, and by backing there and getting healthy and spending that gold that you just earned instead of just trying to get every tiny advantage you can, it definitely evens it out. otherwise NRG would have had the advantage. So yes, I do agree with that call.
You don't think the Fire Giant was possible?
No, not without Arkkyl. You didn't have the ultimate from DarkDodo. You did have the Wrath from Nika, but look at your overall objective damage.
True.
I mean, Nika's a Sobek. He's not going to be doing anything for you. You've got a Geb on Murrdurr.
It's the lack of the Isis ultimate that I think was the ultimate call. I think if Isis had the ultimate up, we might have seen Sanguine go for that Fire Giant, but like you said, intelligently keeping the tempo, and because they backed, they're able to make a second siege.
No problem using the nicest ultimate there, though.
All right, Sanguine's going to engage. Let's listen to them, thanks to Steel Series.
I'm gonna tune him.
Oh, he's so low.
Yeah, on tier. I've shield.
This.
I'm gonna tune it.
Oh,
1 HP. I have ring toss if you can CC.
No.
Oh, I'm dead. Back off. Just make sure they don't get FG. Just back and go FG fast. Athena's ulting. They're gonna go FG.
They're
going
gonna
goal. That's fine.
We don't care about goal.
I accidentally beads for no reason. Nem beads, right? When she landed?
Yeah.
Try to stay in the back so you can shield me if I get taunted.
Yeah.
Just stay in the back line.
Yeah, I shielded the Nesha because you two were next to each other. And
Yeah,
both
no,
got
but
CC.
we got both taunted by Athena.
Wait, I didn't get taunted.
Oh, you mean that? Yeah.
No,
Sure.
me and Murrdurr.
Me and Murrdurr. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean me and
In Murrdurr.
me and Murrdurr.
Well, that's all the beats
Get
are up.
this
Oh,
one.
Murrdurr, careful. Yeah, just get this and get out fast.
Careful guys.
It'll be fine.
They're going in. Yeah, I mean, tier is kind of low. At least you could heal up, though. I'm coming back. All the beats are up except Nemesis.
I'm
I
coming,
don't know.
man, coming.
I don't think I should ult Nemesis because she's gonna land and...
I mean, she has spirit rape. She's
It's
like,
fine, but we just have to turn on someone else
Well, no,
after.
Spirit Orb isn't that good against Nem because it's only...
They're just gonna shield when she lands, you know.
Only 3 seconds.
No, they don't. They use chill there, right?
I don't know. I know they use tier.
We don't have Nesha yet. We don't have
Yeah,
Nesha
I'm
yet.
coming.
What a disheartening team fight right there. Sanguine, they kind of get every opportunity, and unfortunately, the mechanics just don't line up. A lot of missed abilities coming out in what seemed like a perfect opportunity for Sanguine. They're unable to take that mid lane fight.
Maybe the criticism of they're playing these Guardians because their mechanics aren't there has a little bit of foundation. At least in that team fight, it seemed to. Overall, though, I think that they've been picking excellent fights, and that tells me that even if the mechanics aren't there in this particular game, mechanics are kind of like just like a bad game shooting. You know, you can always get a better one next time.
There's a nice little Fearless coming out of Dimi. Separated from the squad, though. Murrdurr blinks forward. No ult just yet. Knock up on the other side, and there's a stun onto Dimi. Isolated, and the help from iRaffer is going to bring him towards Arkkyl. Ultimate out of Arkkyl to prevent himself from being CC'd, but he gets controlled anyway. Arkkyl falls down by Dimi. There's the control of the mid lane. Cherryo in trouble, and it's all going to be Dimi one more time.
Dimi, and then iRaffer
Big
comes
taunt.
in with the big taunt. Murrdurr left alone. Dimi with the blink. Can't find it thanks to the stun from DarkDodo. He's forced to heal and get out, but the rest of Sanguine are all so low. Nika does have the Wrath if NRG wants to look at fire, but he's low enough that he has to back. He'd have to get here very quickly.
You know, one of the concerns that I had that I didn't speak up about, that we heard in the comms, was this Geb on Murrdurr. Murrdurr is, I mean, exactly what his name makes you think. He plays Ares, he plays these aggressive supports, and then you give him the Geb, and his team is sort of giving him pointers. Stay in the back and shield me. I'm being crowd controlled. The shield stops that. And we're not seeing, I haven't really seen many worthwhile shields come out of Murrdurr too much, and not just in this game, but in game one as well. And I think that the Geb pick is one of those things that might work on paper, but translating it into the game, if it's just not your style, I don't know. How do you feel about that one, Aggro?
I think the discussion that we heard whenever we listened into the comms is just shield prioritization. And that is definitely one of the harder things to do as Geb, because a lot of times you see one CC and like, oh, I can shield that. But that shouldn't be the CC you should be shielding. You should be shielding your carry who's getting taunted instead of your frontliner who's getting fearless, or, you know, things along that line. So, I don't know. I haven't had too much of a problem with it. Really, he's been doing a decent job. Cherryo also with the ultimates on the point yet again. Arkkyl, the rest of them looking at iRaffer, though. Cherryo very low, as is ML, but he's going to be able to pick him up.
Taunted into the damage, and Yammyn, on the other hand, takes down the jungler. Emilitoo very low, and Sanguine going to wrap around. Nika gets the knock up, and Dodo gets the kill, but it's right after NRG get one for themselves. emilitoo falls, but NRG are able to take down 2 members of Sanguine, and that'll keep them running.
The 2 main damage dealers from Sanguine as well. That's the big key. You lose emilitoo, who is the top damage dealer in the game right now, but overall, Cherryo was just so close to being able to one-shot these carries. You could see that Emil was 1 HP whenever he came down, but then he's able to heal up, stay in the fight long enough to make sure that Arkkyl gets picked up on the back end whenever he gets traded out. And you can see it's actually, if you look at the player damage charts, it's really been a big mixture of emilitoo and Yammyn and Dimi. Adapting is below Geb in player damage right now. He hasn't been this carry-style Nemesis that we've come to see from him consistently. He has finished off the Wind Demon, now working into probably a Deathbringer, if I remember his sort of Nemesis build correctly that he likes to go for. But adapting has been setting up for his team, and it's been working out very well. The Nemesis has also been where they need to be most of the time, but we're not seeing that sort of chase down big crit number that we're used to seeing out of him.
Which might be the reason that NRG are trailing in the kill department. Like we said, NRG have the lead. It's 7,000 gold. Now 5,000 of that was lovingly gifted from Sanguine thanks to their 2 gold Furies that were stolen, despite the fact that they have an Ice Assault and a Wrath. Oh, that's got to be really rough for Sanguine, just giving those 2 away. And right now, 7,000, as I said, energy in total. But they're still trailing in those kills. I think this is where they're going to meet up with the little group up here. NRG are looking for a pick.
Cherryo's been the focus, like I mentioned, so we'll have to see if he is yet again. Arkkyl has also been focused down very heavily since that couple of string of fights that they've been really looking for.
Dimi sees everybody grouped up, only able to grab the support, taunt out iRaffer. Sanguine still a little bit distant from the rest of the squad. NRG are going to isolate iRaffer, surround him. Dimi shows up to help out. iRaffer still controlled by Nika, but not too big of a deal. Dimi on the backside, he's in trouble. Arkkyl takes him down. The stun out of Yammyn, not good enough.
Yammyn looking for it. No, emilitoo was looking for the World Weaver, but everyone's low, but they're out of vision. Free pick there. Dimi just was frontlining so well for just 2 seconds too long. It was just a little bit too much from Dimi. Everyone was zoned, but the problem was that Murrdurr blinked into the backline, got the Cataclysm onto Yammyn, which forced him to not be able to follow up. The initial blink Fearless was on the wrong target there. Bomb stun off the mark as well because of that target selection. Just a little bit, the idea was there, and it was almost executed perfectly, but just a little bit too deep into that tower range for Dimi there.
1 for 1 then. Sanguine have a perfect opportunity in the mid lane, maybe 4 or 5, more like 7 minutes ago, and they just drop it due to just wrong execution. And NRG get one themselves. Great setup, great positioning, but they're just unable to really find the spells. Because of that, NRG are going to drop one. A rare, miscontrolled team fight. This one, Nika already down a half HP.
Just taking so much damage there between the bomb stun from Yammyn, who's finished off his Rod of Tahuti, and the damage, the oboe from emilitoo. emilitoo going for this pure, like, caster style, basically. The only attack speed item that he has with that Odysseus bow is that Aussie, going for a little bit of lifesteal, but really looking to just spread out his damage in the team fight with that Odysseus bow.
NRG starting the Fire Giant against a team with a Wrath and an Isis ultimate. They're really just looking for the fight here. Let's listen to NRG as they're going to surge forward. Never mind. They got disengaged on. My bad.
They could look for the Fire Giant, though. I mean, they've gotten enough poke. Arkkyl, no purification available now. Nemesis ult is down.
All right, let's go. NRG, let's listen to them.
I got 3 bombs. I hit
Honest backing. Oh, never mind. Side in. You get
Nash
Nash behind. Nash
running.
Nash off.
Good.
Yeah, we should be able to.
30
seconds. 20 seconds on Mars. 20 seconds on Mars.
Start it. Where do you
I'm
want
gonna back and ult in. Okay. I'm gonna back and ult in.
I'll flag.
Two tank.
Okay.
They're gonna come in there.
Okay, I'm tanking.
You're gonna fight in 8 seconds.
Yes.
8 seconds.
8 seconds.
Get.
I'm on gas. Running.
Heavenly for you guys. Go on, gap.
Tell me then.
Careful, Dimi. I'll
Don't tell him. Okay,
How long?
okay.
Bait him in again.
I need to heal up. I'm gonna heal up in
Heal
lane.
on our speed.
I got 1 bomb.
Let me heal on speed.
They're backing. Two backing.
Yeah.
Start up.
Okay.
Start it.
Sobek has hug, remember? Yeah, we can't commit. There's no way.
Look for a dash down.
Look for the Nash here. He doesn't have beats. He doesn't have ult. Sobek. Start in. Ult. He ulted. Not force. Alright, I'm gonna flank you. Okay.
I have it again. Nash is pretty low.
Just ult down her.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm ready again.
I have shell. No time for 5.
The delicate dance of the fire giant.
The dance over and over again. iRaffer looking for you. You can hear adapting, calling for the taunts on a Cherryo, but he does have that purification up now and the ultimate, that CDR from that Jotun's Wrath coming in big for him, as well as I believe Shield of Regrowth has a little bit of CDR on it. A little bit. I think. I don't know. I never build it. Yeah, I was right. 10%, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
I love when you're proud of yourself, Aggro.
Listen, who really buys Shield of Regrowth? Like, if Matt Yankee was here, I would have just asked him, but he's not, so I just have to rely on myself. And most of the time, I'm just guessing up here. Like, let's be real. If you can't tell by the things I'm saying that are completely wrong, like literally every cast, I'm just trying my best.
Throwing out the fake stats.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you say it with confidence, does anyone really know the difference?
17% of the time that Dimi hits a Fearless from the right-hand side, he's able to grab 3 or more players.
I believe you. Do you see how confident you were there, man?
Right now, Sanguine looking a little confident themselves. Starting up the Fire Giant, Yammyn gets hit for a zillion. He's up in the air, he's gonna come right on down and answered. Cherryo completely 100-0, the mid laner.
Arkkyl getting very low. Circle of protection is there, but Dimi hits so many with that Lawbringer. Dodo so low. Emilitoo's gonna find him thanks to that Odysseus bow adapting, just baiting everyone to him. Cherryo with the Sanctuary trying to get out of there, even despite the early pick. NRG's winning the fight.
iRaffer, the blink and a Murrdurr used defensively might help him get away, but adapting, wrapping around the backside. Oh, sees the rollout, can't catch up. Nika, on the other hand, well, he's running the wrong way.
That fight looked so good for Sanguine. I mean, I was talking about it earlier. They just need Cherryo. He's so close to being able to one-shot the squishy targets, but hasn't found that damage quite yet. He has the damage now. He's full build. He's finished off. Got a ton of penetration. The Jotuns, the Titans, the Brawlers. He's going to be able to hit pretty hard, and he did. He literally 100-0 to Yammyn, but everything was going wrong on the bottom whenever he came down. Arkkyl was already 10% HP by the time Cherryo came down from that ultimate, and then it just kind of fell apart from there.
NRG going to start the Fire Giant one more time. 3 players are here. One of them is the Hunter, though, so a lot of damage coming out. iRaffer trying to zone Cherryo. There's the flip over from Dimi. Knocked up by the support. Fire Giant half HP. NRG not peeling just yet. Cherryo gets ulted by the Nemesis and taken to the sky. Cherryo's going to land, and there's help on the bottom.
There it is. He got the extra movement speed from the Shield of Regrowth, but doesn't matter. Adapting, getting pretty low. Fire Giant low as well. NRG secure it thanks to the bombs from Yammyn.
Murrdurr's going to get killed as well. And NRG flirting with death, flirting with giving away the objective, and just able to keep everything under control. Adapting had 10% HP for the majority of that team fight, kept his cool, and was able to maneuver around not just the Fire Giant nonsense, but the enemy players.
And that's a big difference between teams at the top and teams that are trying to get there. NRG don't have that big secure. They don't have the Ice Assault, but they still are willing to play with it, and they know that they're going to be able to secure it. Whenever Sanguine tries to do the Gold Fury when they should have the guaranteed secure, they give up 2, allow NRG to stay in the lead, and then they're able to push it. Now 38 minutes in, you've got 5 members with Fire Giant for NRG, up about 8,000 gold.
And again, NRG trailing in the kills by 1. The gold, obviously, like you just said, 7,800 in the lead for Sanguine. And, you know, 8,000, sure. It's not 2 Gold Furies worth, right? We've moved on past that. Sanguine didn't lose this game because they gave away 2 Gold Furies, but when you think about it, you're making the face, and you know what?
So, yes, you're right. 8,000 gold is not 2 Gold Furies, but it's about the pressure that those Gold Furies gave to NRG. It's about the items that allowed them to get the map pressure and take the fights. I wouldn't say that it outright lost them the game.
It was the step stool to reach the top shelf.
Very, very important. If they're able to find those Gold Fury, Sanguine probably has a much better chance of winning the game.
Like I said, my point was that 8,000 gold wasn't the math for 2 Gold Furies, but the result of that lead is because of those Gold Furies. If Sanguine don't drop those objectives, aggro, I think this is a tie game.
I agree with you, and you never know. If Sanguine has the pressure with their composition, maybe they can do even more than NRG's been able to do with the pressure that those Gold Furies gave to them. And, you know, I know, just speaking from experience as a player, you lose a game like this and you're like, all right, guys, we really should have won that game. It's just that we gave up the Gold Furies. Even if they had opportunities to win after giving up those Gold Furies, which they clearly have, a botched team fight in the middle lane. There, that last time, they have a team fight where it literally starts off 5v4 and you still lose the team fight. That's a team fight you need to win if you're Sanguine.
And NRG, a team that's lauded for their high mechanical skill, they drop a team fight due to missed abilities as well.
Right, exactly. So you have the opportunity to win this game despite giving those up, but when you're looking at it afterwards, I know these guys are just saying to themselves, yo, if we just secure Gold Fury, we're fine here. Like, we win that game easy peasy, even though they probably should have had a chance to make the plays even after that.
Yeah, it's a rough one, man. Sanguine in a position to win before. Now, judging, honestly, 13,000 is pretty rough. But judging from the way that Sanguine have been playing these team fights, and now that Cherryo is late enough that he can actually take out these players, because that's his role on the Naja, Sanguine, they've got a shot, but right now, this is not the time. NRG have the Fire Giant. They're sieging on the left side, and Sanguine going to have to play defense against this NRG roster.
ML going to be able to shred this Phoenix so fast thanks to that penetration that he's
Look at
built.
Dimi.
Dimi, yeah, just zoning Cherryo away. He's been the problem that NRG's been having to deal with, so Dimi is the one tasked with dealing with him.
NRG can't make the step onto the front porch just yet. iRaffer tanking the Phoenix. There's emilitoo right behind him, providing the damage. There's the pushback. Nika gets pushed away, and the Phoenix finally able to fall.
Cherryo finds the
Beautiful
raw
play.
ultimate onto Yammyn, though. Arkkyl again getting so low all the while. Nika able to finish him off, adapting, diving the Titan to find the enemy hunter. Cherryo in a lot of trouble still underneath this middle. Phoenix tries to back up. Athena ultimate is going to hit 3 thanks to Dimi's positioning. Taunt onto Nika, but it looks like the Phoenix is the target.
That was all the plan from NRG. Again, gotta get this is what happens to Sanguine. You see this team, and they're not the #1 team. They're having some issues here, but Cherryo, that light in the darkness, he uses the sash on one target to get in range of a max range ultimate onto his priority target, which is Yammyn. He does the job. He takes out the mage with help from Nika, who got credit for the kill, and everything else goes awry.
The story for me in these team fights, though, you're right. Cherryo's been starting them off so well for Sanguine. His scoreline does not reflect the level of play that he's had so far. He's second in the game in player damage. 3, 6, and 9 does not show how strong Cherryo has been. And you can see he's even taking the red buff. He's like, all right, guys, this is mine
absolutely.
now. I deserve this, and I agree with him. But Arkkyl looked so strong in so many back-to-back team fights, and now NRG recognizes that and just says, all right, we'll just kill you. Because we're going to look at you every single time now. We're not going to let you free cast like we did in the past. And every time that Cherryo's brought someone up, by the time he's down, Arkkyl's dead as well.
Well, we're 3/4 of an hour into this one, right? It's 45 minutes. Anhur, when Anhur was making his plays, that's when Anhur makes his plays in that mid-game, when he's able to get up close and personal. You know, that kill on a Yammyn, that was a melee kill, right? That's what you're seeing out of the Anhur, and when the game gets later, you're just able to control the Anhur a little bit better.
That's true, but emilitoo's still doing all the damage in the world as Neith, who's even more early game than Anhur.
That's fair.
And you can see, I mean, we saw Funball yesterday on that Anhur really play it in the late game very effectively, and it's all about pillar placement in the late game. It's about using that as zone control, and Arkkyl's just not been able to keep the other team off of him. He needs to be positioning in a place where it's not going to be able to get dove, or Murrdurr needs to be doing a better job of looking at him to peel for him, because he's been peeling for Cherryo, but Cherryo is basically just playing to get one kill and then die. He's playing to trade out his life for a priority target. You've got to keep Arkkyl alive.
The 2-3 push. 2 in the mid, 3 on the right side for NRG. Cherryo drops the ultimate, not going to be useful this time around. 25% HP on the Cherryo, but it's all about the Titan. NRG just dialing damage into it. iRaffer is going to get taken out by the jungler. Cherryo puts another one. That's kill number 4. Arkkyl gets one as well. NRG can't just rip this out of Sanguine's hands. They're going to play some defense and shove NRG out the house.
Arkkyl jumping in, using that pillar this time. Dimi going to be able to get out for now, adapting still full HP in the jungle. I don't know if Sanguine knows he's there. TheDarkDodo, did that all go off? That ultimate went off. He ulted him in the fountain. That could happen whenever you use an ultimate like that. Perfectly timed back. All planned there by TheDarkDodo. Definitely not lazy backing whatsoever.
Absolutely. Just figuring it out.
Just outplayed, man. I got Nemesis all guys, and I'm back in base.
I like the play coming out of Sanguine, though. They're able to, a lot of times, that can be really See
that was 1,000 damage.
You see that 4-digit crit?
10-18, baby.
Yep. What I was saying was that players can lose their train of thought when their Titans being engaged. All Phoenixes are down. You've got the defending world champions coming into your Titan room. How easy is it to just say, all right, move on to game 3.
Very easy. Yeah, very, very easy to do that. But I love the decision-making from
I love
TheDarkDodo to lay the circle of protection on the Titan. You can't go here, especially against a late-game Isis. If that ult gets fully charged, it will literally explode you. Your pixels disintegrate, your computer like sparks a little bit, and you're like, oh my god, like what just happened? You cannot walk into that circle of protection at 45 minutes. It keeps the Titan healthy, it heals it up, and then you're able to just take the fight from there. And again, that time, Arkkyl lives, able to use Desert's Fury to not only put damage onto iRaffer as he's ulting away and sets up that kill later on in the fight, but he's hitting Yammyn through iRaffer. Yammyn's the first to fall, and it makes the team fight a lot easier. And Yammyn has 7 deaths this game. I mean, he has definitely been the focus for Sanguine.
Absolutely. iRaffer gets flipped up a little bit. He'll be fine. 2 players in this mid lane. They're the tanky ones. The other 3 are on the left side. NRG going to group up now as 5. There's Dimi over the top. Let's listen to NRG as they start their take 2.
Oh, nice, maybe? No.
Okay, big group. Let's get them. You chill. You chill and group up.
Push now.
Like, look how poked
Beast in 25.
Can you go tank in now? We're gonna win now.
Yeah, I'm going in now.
I'm going around. I can ult him. Ult again.
The speed. Dalton, go on Cherryo. On Cherryo. I'm gonna die. I'm ulting Isis. Oh. There's no one to heal there, so you need to be careful. Isis, everyone should gonna bleed. Good for we can end it. GG. Good shit, boys. Holy fuck.
So, again, quiet and composed. We took a look at Eager, and as Eager won what was the biggest game of most of those players' lives, they were sort of just very casually talking about the end of the game. And right here, NRG, they get shut down by a team that they probably feel like shouldn't shut them down after their first shot. They go for a second siege. The game's on the line. It's 50 minutes and just nice, easy, calm calls. Controlling your emotions is a really big deal here.
And the target of that fight was iRaffer. I mean, iRaffer was getting tossed around like a rag doll there underneath that mid Phoenix, but for what? I mean, it's 50 minutes in. It's an Athena that, you know, has those block stacks, so the Anhur auto attacks aren't going to be able to shred him quite as easily. TheDarkDodo did get a good ultimate off there, but
very good.
He got some damage off, but you know, it just wasn't quite as effective. Sanguine shows flashes of being able to compete with teams like NRG, and if you compete with NRG, you compete with everyone in Smite, and there's no doubt about that. But there's just you mentioned it during the game, a couple missed abilities here and there, a couple missed, you know, just positioning, game plan, you know, overall team fight ideas. They're close. They're just not quite there yet.
Yeah, that one's got to be rough if you're on Sanguine or a Sanguine fan. Everything was sort of lined up, and unfortunately, just not able to bring it home. Game number 2 down, and they're both on NRG's side. Game number 3, how's it going to go?
Well, that's the question we're all asking ourselves. It's been a story of objectives so far. Yep. Sanguine had quite the advantage early on and fell a little bit short in terms of the Gold Furies, and that ended up being a big difference in this game.
We saw Sanguine were able to control most of the kills in the game, finding the picks, and then when they tried to go for those Gold Furies, they couldn't secure it. The Isis ultimate was used at one time too early. He popped it too late the other time around. NRG were able to steal 2 of them away, and as a result, we just couldn't see any early game lead momentum coming out of Sanguine.
Yeah, I think they have a lot to be positive about, though. You know, they did lose the objectives, but they controlled the kills, they controlled the map. And the team fights were great. I think they should draft quite similar and just make sure they get the Gold Furies. Like, for the love of Narnia, let's get the Gold Furies.
For Narnia's sake.
Yeah.
But to me, this can be more of a... I can look at this two ways. I can look at this and say that we were so close and we almost were there to beat NRG, or we did everything we could and we still dropped the ball. How are you taking this as Sanguine? Which way do you think they're actually back there feeling right now?
I'm taking this as an improvement factor. We saw Cherryo get off a lot of great ultimates onto Yammyn, being able to shut him down on the Agni. Couldn't really find any more objectives after that point in time. Even in the later stages, when he found this nice stun and then redirected his ultimate to be able to focus that Agni player, taking him out of the game. But at the same time, Arkkyl dies in the backline to adapting. So even though he finds these kills, they get traded 1-for-1 all the time, adapting, never letting go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another key to this is that Neith pick. It's underlying. You don't know where it's going to go. It could go mid, it could go ADC. And if you look at the player damage numbers, they're off the charts.
That's right.
Emilitoo playing a non-hyper carry, just off the charts, like 40k damage, I think, near the end. And I think that's a big thing they need to address, is like, how are they dealing with those Naja ults? And just, yeah, absolute beast play by emilitoo.
That's right.
And Arkkyl playing this on her, he could have easily been able to play aggressive in the early laning phase. We saw Neith actually rush the Transcendent start, whereas Arkkyl was going for that Warrior Tabby, but it didn't seem that Arkkyl was comfortable enough applying any sort of pressure. He was doing a good job finding some picks onto Yammyn with that nice kill, and then even catching iRaffer out of position mid lane, but in terms of the early laning phase against emilitoo, he was too afraid, I think, of iRaffer's ultimate to really take the 1v1 initiative.
Yeah, he could have definitely pressured more. He had the boots, like you said. Neith had the Transcendence. I would like to see him maybe zone out a bit more, pressure the Neith, make her like punish for not buying boots early. And he kind of just gave her the space to get her items online and start carrying the game, dominating with those ultimates.
We even saw her go into the Odysseus bow the late game. emilitoo was just doing a good job having that player damage online, and unfortunately for Sanguine, they couldn't really get the objectives, and like you mentioned, that was the theme of the game, Sanguine just dropping the ball there.
Unfortunate, because Cherryo had his best game by far, and he was excited and he was ready to go, but the Gold Furies, those were the tail of this game. Obviously, Sanguine doing so well leading in kills, but Yammyn on the backside stealing the Gold Fury for NRG there. And it was just a simultaneous, almost looking like deja vu here. emilitoo following up and stealing the Gold Fury as they went in. Sanguine still leading, and NRG just capitalizing off of was some really good play.
What a sick spirit arrow that was. I mean, that's like a hunter's dream right there, to get in position to get off that one ability to steal a Gold Fury.
Yeah, hunters love stealing Gold Furies. That's our thing. You know, we come in there and we go like, we got to clutch this. We got to get that Gold Fury. And that was just a great example of it.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit late on the ISIS detonation, not enough burst. But just great play by emilitoo to have the awareness that they could make that mistake. Some hunters would just sit there and they'd say like, oh, they have ISIS ult, I can't contest it. But emilitoo says, you might make a mistake. I'm going to step up and I'm going to be ready for that and pay us off in spades.
He's been in that position thousands of times before. He knows that he can get away with at least putting himself in that position to try to go for the play, because he has the backflip to maybe get away if he gets turned on there. The Gold Fury was so low that they weren't going to reset it there, especially with that ISIS ultimate.
And you did mention this. I was laughing behind the scenes. You were saying they weren't willing to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah. It seemed
but
that
NRG seemed like they were willing to risk it.
Yes. Adapting is known to try to go way out there at
way
times.
out there.
Whereas Cherryo, we saw it a little bit out of him, but it was a little too late, unfortunately, to try to go for those raw Naja ultimates. If you can catch somebody out of position as Naja, you can really maybe take that risk where you go for the ultimate around the corner and then look for the kill, but it could backfire.
Yeah, for sure. And you also have to look at his build. He kind of built very defensively on an assassin, which you don't really see often. He had 2 defensive items, and if he'd built damage in the early games, in those fights where people were getting away maybe on like 10% HP, it could have been a whole different game. So I'm not really sure if I like the build as I'm not a jungler myself, but as an assassin, I like a bit more damage built early. If you, a little bit more confidence from Cherryo. I mean, he was an absolute monster on those ults, and if he builds like he's gonna hit the ults, perfect. He's building like he's going to miss them. He's building, I'm going to miss the ult, so I need to get away.
The shield of regrowth, the wing blade, trying to get that extra mobility online. It makes sense when you're trying to close the distance gap, but whenever you're in a Naja ultimate doing the damage, that mobility is not going to help you kill your target faster. So instead, trying to disengage from the aggressive side out of energy, couldn't really find any kills in the earlier stages because of his build.
Now he did take down Yammyn at some very key moments in the game. It just didn't seem like Sanguine were able to follow up on that correctly or efficiently. And so despite his build not being advantageous towards that, he did get his job done in getting a lot of kills. Yammyn was, I think, 2-7 at some point in that game. I'm not sure if he finished at a different stat line, but it was very impressive. Cherryo seemed to step it up. My question to you two, who needs to step it up this game for Sanguine? Is it Arkkyl? We saw him have a great performance on Anhur, switching it off of the Jing Wei, or is it somebody else?
I think personally, I want to see Murrdurr help out Arkkyl a little bit more in that duo lane.